Yo, what up? What up? Welcome to another episode of Hard Never Dies. This is season 2, episode 3. Let me bring in my guests real quick. What up, Flicks? What up, Terrence? Terrence is in here. What up,
Hey,
Rashad? What up, y'all?
Yo.
Yeah, it was good.
Am I coming in clear?
Yeah.
All right, cool,
yeah,
cool, cool,
Yo,
cool.
you
Yeah,
guys hear me?
yep. Can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Do I got a mute button on or something?
Nah, I can hear you, but you can't hear us. Hold on.
It seems like you're talking, bro, but I can't. Nothing's coming out.
Give me a
I
second.
can hear you.
Give me a second.
Let me leave and come back in. Or however do.
All right,
do
got-
that.
Yeah, I was
Got
about to say, I can hear all of y'all.
Yeah, we'll wait for him to get back in. I was trying to get Q in here and shit, but I know he'd be busy.
Yeah, Q. Yeah. He's a real busy dude, man. Yeah, between doing YouTube, he does like he films weddings and stuff like that, and Jack
Oh
of
yeah.
Jack
That's
of all
what's up.
trades. Yeah.
Word. Yeah, well, so we got this is episode 3. You know what I'm saying? As we wait for Flicks Talks to come back in and whatnot. How y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the chat, I appreciate if you're checking this out live or if you're checking out the replay. I appreciate it because the 2 night whole premiere thing seemed to work. So I appreciate that. Numbers was up. I'm very happy with those numbers and got a good show. Got a good show tonight. You know what I'm saying? We'll see where it goes though. So
Hell yeah. Terrence was good with you, bro.
Oh, hey, yep. What's going on, Rashad and Perp? Yep. So I just finished up a 3-hour training session in
oh yeah.
99-degree weather.
Hold, 1 second. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I switched browsers. I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. Yeah, StreamYard bullshit.
Okay.
Yo, I dig
Yeah.
the
So
Halloween 4 shirt, bro.
so
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
what were you saying, Terrence?
No, I was just saying that I have finished a 3-hour training session in 99-degree weather. So
You're tripping.
that went well. Had to hop in the shower because I was smelling like shrimp fried rice dipped in shit. So I had to take care of that.
What's up with you, Flicks? Finally got you on the channel because I know last time, like, I
Yeah.
think it was fucked up on my end because I fell asleep or some shit like that. But I'm glad that you're
Yeah,
here.
we had to
I was trying,
reschedule. It's all good, man.
yeah,
No, it's
I was
good
trying
out
to
here,
get.
man.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say that I can understand Terrence's pain, man, because it's like 110 over here, 105, 110 degrees out here in Southern California.
Jeez. I'm so
Bad.
glad that it's cooled down over here. It's like probably like it is like high 60s and stuff like that. So we getting this cool breeze. It feels fucking good. That's what I like about Jersey weather. It's bipolar as fuck, but
Oh
I
my
like
God. Yeah. No, it's supposed to cool down in the next couple of days, but like only by about 10 degrees. It's still going to be in the high 80s, But it is what it is. But thank you for having me on here, guys. I don't think I've met you guys. Maybe Rashad. I think I might have met you through Q Reviews. I could be wrong, but
yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say I knew I recognized you. I'm like, damn, Flicks Talk. I said, this guy's a big deal, man. I've seen him on YouTube quite a few times, man.
I'm an average deal.
So this topic for this episode is the next big decade. So I had a bunch of things kind of like set up and whatnot just to kind of give you the gist. Like these are like just 5 decades I feel like are like probably the biggest. I was looking at like the 40s and 60s. There's some interesting movies that I gotta kind of go back and watch because like I'm not too familiar with like the 40s and 60s stuff, but I feel like this might be the most appropriate and just kind of talking about what could be the next big decade. Because I think by default, the from the 70s to 90s is probably like the biggest run for horror. I don't know if you guys would agree or you know.
You said
for which decade were you talking about?
No, I'm just saying, like, what will be the next big decade? And this is just like examples of like um decades that had a big impact on horror and
Big,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Like this is like
Oh
the
man.
most like accurate. I feel like, the 30s with the monster universe. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the 70s. That's kind of getting like dipping the toes of like just getting to slashers, and like 80s and 90s were probably like the biggest runs for horror and stuff like that. And the 2010s is underrated for horror. I feel like.
I agree. I think that's when we started getting that elevated horror, and then
Yeah,
everybody recently tried to kind of copy that formula and kind of overhype these movies. At least for me, this is my opinion, that they've kind of over inflated and kind of overhyped these movies. And you go to see them and you're like, they're okay. Yeah, they're low budget and stuff, but I just don't see them personally having like a long lasting value. I know one of them that came out a couple months ago that everyone was talking about, Long Legs. I went to
Uh-oh.
go see it, and it was just a fine
yeah.
whatever crime movie, but it wasn't anything I was going to rewatch.
Uh-oh. Here it
I,
comes.
I disagree with that, because that's been a kind of
There,
running theme for with long legs. Rashad don't really fuck with long legs like that, but like second watch was like, I liked the first time, but the second time I watched it in Prime, which is
Mhm.
like the mini, like kind of like that mini Dolby. And I was like, why didn't they like release this in like Dolby? Because I was like, that adds so much to that movie. Like it's like a whole nother experience because of like the sound design. I really like the
Mhm.
sound design and just the atmosphere that movie has and stuff like that. But I understand like where like we got into the 2010s, we were getting a lot of good like, good horror movies from big major studios and stuff. And then it seems like in the 2020s, it kind of flipped and we get more indie stuff now and whatnot. So, it's to each his own. But I really think that like 2010s definitely has some bangers. Like I think when you talk about elevated horror, Hereditary is my favorite out of the 2010s.
Mhm.
Sinister is up there, and the
Since
first
was good.
Conjuring.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But
Yeah, the Conjuring
go ahead.
movies are fantastic. I was gonna say all long, the whole Long Legs discussion. I'm never saying it's a bad movie. I
Hmm.
love. I don't love Nick Cage like how everybody else loves Nick Cage for
Right.
the most part. Like I think he's a fine actor. I think he gets put in wacky ass roles. I just think that his performance, being over the top just to be over the top, doesn't mean, oh shit, your movie's a banger. And I think that's what people like they think of that last final frame, right? I don't want to spoil it, but that last scene where we get to hear that big monologue from him, and yeah, crazy shit happens, but we tend to forget the rest of the movie just because we focus on that third act. And that's what a lot of people, I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying that the general
Mhm.
audience member, that's why the third act always ramps up and it leaves on a memorable note, because they know that people's attention span isn't like the cinephile, like the hardcore
Right.
cinephile, or someone that watches movies daily. Like I know Perp, you're putting up reviews every single day, so I know you watch up like a lot of shows, a lot of movies and stuff like that. The average moviegoer is going to the theater with their family once a month.
Right.
So if they're ingesting this content, that they're going to have a different experience. And I think that's what studios are starting to see. And they're like, how can we do this formulaic thing for cheap? And I think
Mhm.
Long Legs is a perfect example. But I did like the story. I just was comparing it to like Fargo, Seven, like other crime movies that I had already
Mhm.
seen before. But
Mhm.
Mako Monroe did a great performance. Nicolas Cage did a great performance. So did the other actor that was her boss, Mako Monroe's boss. I forget his name, but he did a fine performance as well. But it was just an okay movie. It wasn't. I don't know why it was so overhyped to me.
I,
But
I
I'm
think
with
I
you
think
on
just
that.
the marketing was done really well. I think that's what helped it. In out of all the movies that come out this year, I feel like it still had like the best marketing. It was able to get to that $100 million mark and stuff, which is kind of crazy just for a horror
That is
movie.
But
For sure.
crazy.
also, I think that like while I agree with Flicks that was his detriment as well because it was so overhyped and because it was marketed like, oh, this is like the scariest movie of the year. So I go into this movie thinking this is going to be the scariest movie of the year. And by the end, it was unseasoned chicken.
But but
It
but
I
just
think real quick. I think
go ahead.
even the quote on the poster said scariest movie of the decade. I could be wrong about that.
right, right.
And
And it's
that's
But
like
even
that
that's
but that
even that's even
yeah.
crazier.
but I feel like that's like they always do it that with every movie, even like when it's
Oh
like
yeah,
it could be like a Marvel movie, like oh the #1 movie in America, you know what I'm saying, just to hype it up. Like I
yeah,
just kind of went into it just like with my own expectations and stuff like that, and you know, that's just what's gonna happen with movies in general. Like you're gonna get excited, you know what I'm saying, and you know I could understand for a lot of people like this year was kind of disappointing for a lot of horror movies and stuff like that. But I'm like kind of like the opposite, and I think maybe like it's going to take some time, like let like some of these like films breathe, because what I like about the 2020s in general, which I think the 2020s is going to be is a big already stacking up to be a big year for decade for horror, is that we get a lot of original ideas more than just like kind of like the same old, you know. So even though like this year we've gotten like a lot of religious horror, but it's
mhm.
still
Yeah.
kind of like the religious horrors are like a little different, you know what I'm saying? It's the only ones that were kind of similar were like the first Omen and Immaculate and whatnot.
Shit, I just saw a
Yeah.
religious horror movie the other day, that the Front Room with Brandy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw that too.
How do you guys like that? Because I'm seeing I don't like the. Did you guys see the marketing campaign about don't be quiet in the theater, just get as loud as you can?
No, I
I
didn't
didn't
see
see
that.
that. I didn't see that,
Oh,
but I saw you post. I saw you repost it and stuff and whatnot. I was just like,
I
yeah,
thought it was bad marketing because it's like
yeah,
everybody.
no,
I'm not the only one. Everybody in the comments were like, "What do you mean get like I'm paying $20 for a ticket? I want to hear what the dialogue says on screen. I don't want
right.
people screaming and hollering and stuff like that."
Yeah,
But I understand it though. I understand it because that's what we do at home usually, right?
Mhm.
right.
When you're in a
Yeah,
theater situation, it's totally different. I just thought that was kind of bad marketing, but I love Brandy. I just want to see her in good scripts, and I'm only basing it off the trailer, and it looks like
mhm.
a couple of aspects of movies that I've already seen kind of smack. Like this would have been a great movie in 2010. I don't know why it has like an old concept idea to me.
I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say, but my thing about it going into it, like I kind of I kind of knew what I was going to expect. 'Cause like, oh, this looks kind of funny, you know, and it's one of those like kind of dark comedies with a little bit of because it's more eerie, disturbing, and like than scary, you know, and that's the thing. Like everybody, like not every horror movie necessarily has to be scary, and like that's gonna be
Right.
different. For, like scares are gonna be different for everybody, you know.
Right.
Well, to
Um,
me, it kind of put me in the mind of Misery. Like Misery really wasn't a scary movie per se, but it's
yeah,
classified as horror. But yeah, it kind of had a Misery feel to it. I was conflicted with it because the movie itself was very just meh. You know what I'm saying? But the performance from Catherine Hunter to me was worth the price of admission. So I was like,
yes,
damn, like I feel bad recommending the movie because it is very average, but just her performance by itself, like to me, that she's probably the best character this year, man. And I say probably
yeah,
the best performance I've seen this year from any actor because from the moment they introduced her, the first thing I thought of, I said, yo, this is the best character introduction since Thanos. You know, so when
yeah,
she came
because
with those fucking walker, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
them two canes, bro. Because it's like, yo, those canes. We hear them shits. You know, she's close by, and her voice, and she's got
Right.
that real thick, like Southern, Confederate, like you know,
Yeah,
accent.
she was
You know,
great. She was great. She was great. I love that. Like there's a scene where her and Brandy are at the dinner table, and Brandy's kind of exposing her as a white supremacist, and she plays on that. You know, say she makes a mockery out of it. And it's one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. I'm like, yo, this actress, she's brilliant.
Mhm.
yeah. So continuing on with the whole like decade and stuff, like I don't want to leave out this decade because I feel like this decade gets kind of shitted on a lot. Is the early 2000s, and these are some of the gems. You know, there's a lot more than this, but like you know,
Why you got Scary Movie
when I
2 on there?
I'm about to say why you got
but
Scary Movie
no,
2 in
just
there.
I'm just yeah, just read because like I know a lot of people haven't probably seen it. Like a lot of like younger kids and stuff like that haven't seen that movie, but
By,
like
by the way, did you guys see
um
that Marlon Wayans interview on Club Shay Shay?
Yes, I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
I did,
that was a
yeah.
really good
Jesus,
one.
bro, that man's had a legacy so
Hell
far,
yeah.
you
Yeah, for
know, and he's
sure.
I
Hell
can only
yeah.
see great things for him. But the whole Scary Movie debacle was pretty crazy, like behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sorry, just want to put that in there.
it makes sense
No,
though,
no,
because that shit was terrible after too. So
Word.
Yeah,
Fact.
that's what I say. But I just like found random movies, but like two in particular on this in this you know what I'm saying what I feel like deserves a lot more love is definitely the Loved Ones because that came out in like '09. Like if that were to come out, that kind of like opened the door for me for like Australian horror. I was like, oh damn, they got shit like this, and it's just one of those like that's probably like one of my favorites out of the early 2000s next to Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat's my favorite out of the early 2000s. Like we should have been got a Trick or Treat too. I don't know what's taking so long about that, but um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I really like the '03 version. That's the only version I really like watching. Martyrs was pretty fucking nuts. Like that's that foreign. Like that's when I started kind of really getting more into the foreign stuff. Like they were going kind of crazy over there. Like a lot of those French horrors and stuff like that. Japanese horror. Like you had The Ring at this time. So like the early 2000s had some gems for sure. You know what I'm saying? Some people, some movies might not have aged as well, but I think the early 2000s still has some.
I gotta check out the Love One because I've seen clips from it and pictures and stuff like that, but I haven't seen it in its entirety. I hear good things. I didn't even know it was Australian. Now that you mentioned that, I got a fucking Australian horror right here because I was just telling someone about it. A movie called The Furies. I don't know if you guys saw this one.
Oh, I think I did. I think I think that was on Shudder. Not too
Yeah,
long
it was
ago.
a Shudder exclusive. I found this one well originally on DVD like at the Dollar Tree, and then I upgraded to a Blu-ray. I found it online, but that's Australian horror too. And there's something about they just like push the envelope when it comes to like gore, and if you like
Yeah.
Hatchet and Terrifier and all that shit, then you'll love Australian horror. But I'm gonna check that one out just for the fact that it's Australian horror.
Hatchet is Australian.
No, Hatchet is American, but
Okay.
it's in the same vein like gore wise.
Okay. Yeah. 'Cause I was
Like
like,
a
oh
lot of
shit.
close, like a lot of close up long shots and stuff, or
You, you,
Mhm.
they
you
stay
said
on the
you
shots
said
and
early
stuff.
2000s, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot, but for me, it's easily 13 Ghosts. Like the
Oh
move,
yeah.
the movie itself is not good, but the concept of the movie and the way that the ghosts look is amazing. The ghosts look amazing, and that was the thing that captivated me was when I saw the trailer for it. As a kid, it was just like, oh wow, they look crazy as hell. I just wanted to see what that was all about.
13 Ghosts was
Yeah.
fire. It wasn't a good movie, man. That was fire.
No,
No,
let's
no,
not
no.
forget about
The
let's not
the
forget about
stuff.
Rod
So
Digga.
yeah,
Right. Right.
from a writing standpoint, it was not good. It was very mediocre. But like I said, the concept though is what's
Mhm.
intriguing because you could have did more with that. Like if you would have had really talented writers on 13 Ghosts 2001 specifically because there is an old school one. I think you could have had a masterpiece. But instead, a lot of the audience walked away with just like, oh, that one ghost looked pretty cool, or that was cool when the ghost did this, and not so much captivated by the story itself.
Mm,
Hmm.
I can see
Fair
that.
enough.
And that
Yeah.
Fair
and
enough.
that's what I say. I think if they were ever to revisit 13 Ghosts, like I think it would really work as like a limited series or just them doing a full on reboot of the movie and stuff like that. I personally like a series because like you could touch on like having an anthology series with all the different ghosts and stuff like that
Yeah.
and
Each
do it that
ghost.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
almost
mean,
like some Masters of Horror, which is another like not movie but like came out in that early 2000s. So
yeah. Now, for me, it's Jeepers Creepers, man. The original Jeepers Creepers, 2001. That's like,
Yeah,
oh, hey, I mean, I know the controversy with the director and everything, but dog, that movie was a masterpiece to me, a horror masterpiece for me. I love that joint.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
yeah,
second that.
it's
Yeah.
it was
unfortunate.
good. I liked the second one as well, but it's like what I told humans. What the director did is what he did, but that has nothing to do with the movie itself. If something
Right.
is good, or if somebody is good at something, then that's what it is, regardless of what you think about that individual as a person.
Yeah, nah, I mean, I remember I took my little brother to go see it, and it scared him out of his fucking mind, which means that the movie did its job. I mean, I felt bad that I traumatized him like that, but you don't get that experience too much in the movies no more with horror movies. Now you take a kid to see a horror movie, they fall asleep on it, or they say this is stupid. But when I took my brother to see
Mm,
Jeepers Creepers, like he turned white.
Man,
Well,
I
that's
shit. I
that.
almost,
Well,
I almost had to backhand one of my friends because I was watching with some friends, and one of my friends, he just like he kept jumping so much that you like would think he was part of the movie. I'm like, man, would you calm down? He's like, yeah, but man, the way he turned, and I was like, we're not gonna bring you to see none of this
scary
stuff
ass.
no more.
Yeah, but dog, you don't get that no more, man. I mean, unless it's like Terrifier or something like that. But now with all this so-called elevated horror, people
You
don't get scared like they used to.
you know what? I will say this to play devil's advocate with that. Alien Romulus had a lot of scary scenes in it. I saw it in IMAX, and it had a lot of just crazy atmospheric scares, a couple of jump scares in there, and they kind of got me. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
my
Alien
my, my
Romulus.
audience
There are
was
exceptions.
jumping
There
like
are
crazy
exceptions.
during that movie.
Yeah.
They were shouting, and I was just like, dang, like okay.
Yeah, there are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, like like a Long Legs or stuff like that. But you go to see those movies, it's like okay, that was alright.
Oddity was really good. Like that had one of the best opening scenes I've seen in a horror movie in a long time. It's just like
But
that
why was that
atmosphere.
trailer so boring? That trailer was so boring, bro. I didn't want to see it.
I mean, it's
You told me it
unfortunate,
was
but like,
good.
yeah, it's good, but like, I never like, I don't think I've like really paid attention to like, I probably saw the trailer once, so I didn't really like, you know what I'm saying? I don't, you know, but I just kind of like just went into it pretty
Yeah,
much blind and stuff like yeah, and just
Mhm.
and
yeah.
sometimes that
The
happens. You know,
trailer was
they cut
boring
boring.
though.
You can cut boring trailers, and then like the trailer doesn't do the movie justice. That happens a lot too. Or sometimes you could show too much, which a lot of like trailers do nowadays and stuff like that.
But
Yeah.
that's
So
but that's always bad. Like when you're showing a trailer for anything, the worst thing
mhm,
you can be is boring because then there's going to be certain humans that don't want to go and see it or they're going to wait and see it, and you've lost money already because you failed to intrigue the viewers.
mhm.
Very true.
Yeah.
But looking at it now, like looking at the trailer and just looking at the movie, I can understand why they cut it the way they did because they're like, they don't want to give out. I feel like if you show too much, you can kind of put two and two together already in your head. I do that a lot with trailers. I'm just like, okay, this is the beginning, this is the end. I don't
Hmm.
like doing that. That's why I was like, I hate watching trailers sometimes because I'll be trying to figure out the story and
Yeah.
everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah,
I
Oddity was
avoid
crazy.
trailers. Yeah, I've even seen the Terrifier 3 trailer. I don't want to know nothing.
Oh, I
I
saw
go in
a
there
bunch.
blind.
I saw a
All I
bunch of
know is that
stuff.
Art
Yeah.
is Santa Claus, and that's it. That's all I know.
I kind of felt like they showed a lot in that trailer. Like as far not gore, but they showed more than I thought they would show in a normal horror movie.
Mhm.
And I think it's
Mhm.
probably because you can't show that much from a Terrifier 3 without showing blood, a couple little blood
Right,
shots,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's kind of
Well, I mean, but for Terrifier, it's different because, even though I enjoyed the second film, you just got to call it what it is. Like, to me, if you show a lot, quote unquote, in one of those trailers, that's not one of those movies where it requires a lot of thought. You know what I mean? It's
right.
easy to follow and stuff like that. So I feel like it always depends on what you're going for. If there is a lot of suspense and mystery, then yeah, you don't want to show too much, but you also don't want to be boring either. You want the audience to be invested in that mystery. Like, I want to get to the bottom of that shit. I'm going tomorrow. That's how you want them to feel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that. Well, like I went to go see the front room, and they had Terrifier 3 playing before, and so I was like, yes, yeah, play this more, like instead of fucking speak no evil. Like I'm tired of seeing that goddamn trailer.
Oh
Like,
my god, bro! Every time, every time. Now you're probably going
sorry.
to see the damn Minecraft trailer. I
Oh
saw
my
that right,
god,
Oh,
right in
that's a
front of
horror
God.
movie.
right in front of Beetlejuice, and I was like, I've only seen the trailer twice, and I'm already like feeling like Speak No Evil, like the vibes. For real.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for that Minecraft movie. That will be when
Nah.
it comes on HBO or something. Like, that's how I'm gonna see it.
But watch it
Speak of
actually
Evil,
be good though.
is that the
Watch it
one with
actually
James
be good.
McAvoy?
Speak No
Oh yeah,
Evil,
the
yeah.
speak no, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I like the
Oh yeah,
original. I don't know
yeah.
why. Like, it's like I see. Like people are saying like that seen the movie. It says like it does something different than the original, but they still showed damn near the whole movie in that trailer, like
Yeah.
almost beat for beat.
Okay, well,
Facts.
even if, like you said, if Minecraft is a good movie, it doesn't change the fact that that trailer was just fucking terrible, man. It was awful.
Yeah. Like, what was Jason Momoa doing? Like, he just
Well,
took that check.
I was gonna ask this too. Going back to what Terrence said about the whole trailers are supposed to pull the audience in, right? As to someone like myself, I've never played the Minecraft game. I don't know a single thing about it. I don't know any of the characters. I know what the world kind of looks like just based on pictures I've seen, but I still don't know anything about that movie. What even as a teaser trailer, like it told me nothing. And I know it's not my demographic, but you would think that with a mega movie like that, you would try to appeal to everybody that has money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's
And
exactly right. Yeah.
they're just targeting the kids, but I know it's kind of a catch-22 because the kids have parents that are going to go take them to spend the money on all that shit, right? But
But
I don't know.
but I mean, but to your point, if you okay, when something is adapted from a book, comic book, video game, whatever it may be, if someone that has not read or played whatever that is, if they can't figure out what's going on, that means you failed in your adaptation. Because I shouldn't have to play a video game or read a book to understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
That means that you are only appealing to those that it's already appealing to. So you've already lost a large portion of your audience because it's everyone else in which you're going to make your money, not just the core individual. So anyone will tell you that has tried that with all those adaptions and they failed, they'll tell you that their mistake was is that they didn't make it understandable to individuals that are out of the loop.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah,
true.
that's a problem. I think they need to try to change that a little bit, even if it's a teaser trailer. I don't know. Maybe with the second trailer, I have to force myself to watch it. But maybe with the second trailer, we'll get a little more in depth detail.
Speaking of trailers, real quick before we get back into the topic and stuff, y'all like? Did everybody see the Wolfman trailer?
Oh, I
Hell
did.
no.
Yeah,
I saw it
I saw
last
that.
night.
How'd you
Actually.
feel about it, Flicks?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. When there was some marketing that was going around, I think I reposted it on Twitter. Is that the Blumhouse like Universal Horror Nights is going on right now, and they
Yeah.
had that guy dressed up as the Wolfman. Did you see
I
that?
see
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that.
When I saw that, I was like, "Is this what it's gonna look like in the trailer, like in the movie?" But then I saw the teaser. It didn't really allude to anything like that from the marketing or whatever. But I like the actors involved. I don't know the main guy, but I know that the girl is from Ozark, who I think
Yeah.
she's a good actress. I always like the cabin in the wood concepts where it's just very isolated. Anything could happen around you, kind of thing. But I think with a movie like that, even though it's directed by Lee Whannell, I think you're gonna get. It's going to be a lot of exposition, just a lot of dialogue, a lot of spooky stuff happening, like little, scares here and there. But I think you're going to get
Slow
a full
burn.
transform. Yeah, slow burn. You're going to get a lot, a nice transformation in that third act. So I think it's not going to be for everybody, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily a bad movie.
Now, is that transformation going to be CGI or is it going to be practical?
As
Well,
long as it's a transformation, I don't give a damn because that beast within was like fucking atrocious. So just give me some transformation, goddamn it.
I would like to see a combination of both, to be honest. Like the use of
I can see
CGI.
that.
I think that's the best. Lee Whannell comes from, he does he did all the Saw shit. A lot of that stuff was practical effects too. So I would love to see them go back, stick with the practical.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about you,
I
Rashad?
mean, like shit. I mean, American Werewolf in London was '81, and to this day has the best werewolf transformation scene of all time. So, yeah, I would like to see a full practical effect transformation.
I like the transformation in Trick or Treat when all the chicks, like, what I'm saying, they all turned into werewolves and stuff. They were like ripping off their skins and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
And let's not forget the Michael Jackson transformation in Thriller.
Yeah.
That shit
Yes,
was amazing too.
exactly.
Yeah, that was dope.
And that's
That was
early
dope.
'80s, bro. So, like, here it is, 40 years later, and y'all haven't. Nobody can top that yet. Come on, man.
Right.
What like? But is this going to save Blumhouse? Because originally this was supposed to come out in October, and then they just pushed it into January, which that's
Bro,
a red
we
flag
know.
right there.
Yeah, we know movies
Yeah.
Hold
in
on.
January.
All right, so
But go ahead, Terrence.
before we get to that, I just want to answer that question about the trailer. I did see it, and as a trailer, I thought it was okay, but My concern is that it's going to be one of those movies where when you break it down, it's good, but it doesn't come across as anything exciting to me or something that's going to move the needle, just based off of what I've seen. And I would have preferred to be excited for it, but instead it was like, oh, I'm gonna, check the trailer out because I know the Wolfman. I've seen the Wolfman many times, so many things with werewolves. So I was already going in there with just a bunch of images in my head. And then I was like, okay, before I play this, I need to understand that this is gonna be different. This is modern. So I kind of also
Blumhouse.
erased all that. Right, just to see
Blumhouse.
how it played out. And I was like, man, this is I don't think I'm the only one, but this kind of feels very underwhelming in terms of its presentation. Like you never get, I always tell humans this, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's what you get.
Yeah.
You get one time. And then after that, if you're like, well, we're gonna come with the heat the next time, or you wait when we release this, how do you know that the individual that you lost are gonna be willing to come back? They may
Yeah.
already have checked out. And if that happens, that's your fault because your first impression wasn't good to those individuals. So
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
Well,
And,
being it's a January release, man. Like I lost all faith. I'm like January horror movie. Nah, it's not gonna be good.
yeah, and it's like, and if Blumhouse is smart, they don't show the Wolfman at all in the trailers, but you already know they're about to do that. And like they're gonna have like trailer 2, trailer 3, TV spots and stuff like that. They'll probably even show the transformation in one of those TV spots and stuff, and just
If
Mm.
they
kill their own
show
momentum.
him, he better look amazing. Because if you gonna pull out the big guns, it better be impressive. Just because it's like if that was supposed to be a surprise and that's all you have, it's like, well, we've already seen it. Well, what else does the movie have if we already seen the transformation and everything?
Even with Werewolf by Night, the Marvel joint that came out like was it 2022? That was really dope. I felt like that was a really dope like just little thing that they did with just the werewolf and stuff and how they did that
I
transformation scene and
I
stuff like that.
agree, Perp. And
Yeah.
like I told humans, because I was on a bunch of panels, none of them had ever heard of Werewolf by Night. They've never read his comics. To them, it was new. Right now, I was just like, if they do
Mm,
this halfway right, this will be the best thing they've done in like 8 years, just from a cinematography standpoint. So, like when I watched it, all the make and great of the ingredients were there, except I just wish it were a lot more graphic, but everything else though was on point for the most part.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back into the decades, let's talk about 2010s. 2010s was was really strong. You had the Cabin in the Woods. You had Evil Dead 2013, the Conjuring movies. You know what I'm saying? Get Out. You know, you had
Wow,
Midsummer.
that Train to Busan.
Yep, Train to Busan. You know what I'm saying? You had the Babadook. You had the Sinister. You had
Babadook.
Terrifier. You had
Yeah.
It, which It 2017 is still the biggest horror movie and stuff like that. Do you see anybody passing um It 2017 like as far as the box office goes?
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a
I
good
would love to
question.
answer
How much did that
that.
make?
700 something. And in my previous
Wow.
season, season flicks, I had the episode that said like, what's going to be the first horror movie to hit $1 billion?
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to answer that one, Perp. Um,
Go ahead.
so when you okay, first of all, when it comes to horror movies in general, the genre, we know for those of us that have been watching them for years and years, they're all very divisive, right? That's too much, that's creepy, whatever. It's not going to be for everyone. There are only a select few where it's going to be so big that everyone has to watch it by default because of the hype and I got to see what this person's talking about. Most of them never reach that. So when you take in consideration that It Chapter 1 made $701.8 million, that is just it's insane. I just any sort of horror film that they have announced that could potentially come out, I'm telling you right now, I don't see any of them even coming halfway to what that is. I don't see it happening again because
It had to be.
hype is something you can't control. Now, mind you, I've seen a bunch of horror movies that are better than It Chapter One. But this discussion is about the level of money that damn movie made. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can't control hype. Like once you put something out there, it is up to the masses to decide what it's going to be. The fans make or break you. They will decide what your product is. And when you have that many humans on board, it was just something special. Like even my grandma, RIP, she passed away. But even she, who doesn't like horror films, that don't know nothing about nothing outside of maybe Freddie that she saw one time. The fact that she came to me and she was like, Terrence, what's with this scary clown with the balloons? And the fact that it reached her, I was just like, oh shit. I was like, wait, what?
Mm.
I'm like, you trying to see the movie, Grandma? She was like, no, sweetheart, I'm not trying to see it.
I was just
She
asking
was
the
like,
question.
yeah, but she was just like, I saw the commercial and it just creeped me out, and I can't get it out of my mind, and I keep hearing people talk about it, and I was like, Grandma, this is about to make a lot of money. I don't know how much, but it's gonna set some kind of record that, if I'm correct, I just don't see anything else reaching that. And look what happened. So I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna have anything that's
I
gonna.
feel like it will happen, but like it's gonna take some time, and I think it's gonna be something original. I think it's gonna be something original, and it's like you almost have to trick the audience to feel like, oh, this doesn't even feel like horror, but it is horror, so like in
Well,
that kind of
I was
sense.
gonna
But
say that was the appeal of it, because it appealed to a wide like a wide audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, different audiences. Like most horror movies have cult followings, or just like horror fans
Right.
like us. Like we go see almost every horror movie. Like Terrence said, a movie like it just has that universal appeal where it just kind of appeals to everyone. Kind of like when Black Panther came out. Everybody and their mom went and saw Black Panther, even if you didn't know about Black Panther. So it's it's not like, it wasn't hardcore horror, but yet it was intriguing because the clown had a look to him, and then it had that nostalgia too because it was based in the 80s. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And then of course that was around the time of Stranger Things, so Stranger Things had a following, so a lot of people that like Stranger Things
Yeah.
went and saw it. You know what I mean? So it was just, timing is everything. So it was about the timing and just the different audiences that it reached. So that's why it made so much money like
And
that.
the marketing was insane. Like it was everywhere in so many different ways. I'm like, they need a raise because they help
Right.
with that too. Just putting it in your face, like, hey, remember this clown? What do you think about this clown? You gonna be there on Friday? It was amazing to put it together.
Yeah.
Fix, you gonna say something?
I was gonna just kind of piggyback off what Rashad was saying, that it does help that they had that all kid cast around the time that Stranger Things was popping off. Like if the Stranger Things cast and production team decided that they were going to put out a movie, that would be something that would be almost probably $1 billion just based off the fandom. But when we're talking about horror, are we talking about genre bending like horror superhero? Because I could definitely see a Blade, if they take a chance, even if it's PG-13, doing numbers. But that, I mean, I don't know if that's looked upon as horror. The first one to me was definitely horror.
That's actually a great point. Okay,
It's from Marvel, so
so anything that's connected to DC and Marvel, I feel, are different because that the strength of the brand, how much humans recognize it, and then especially if you're talking about Marvel, and Blade literally saved Marvel in 1998, Wesley Snipes and all that stuff. So it's different, even though he's killing vampires and they are connected to the horror genre. I feel like it's very different from any of the other films that we're talking about because that has a cool factor to it. It's Blade. He's doing martial arts and all these things. So I feel like, while someone can connect it to horror, it's not horror in the traditional sense. Like, I don't really see a Blade movie scaring anyone outside of maybe a character or two that might be in it. But, like, I don't really see the masses going, oh, I'm scared of what's happening in Blade, outside of
I would say like a straight up horror, even if it's like even if you like you said like a genre bending type of film, but like a straight up horror, like to make $1 billion, that'd be just something to see. Like that'd be dope. That'd just be real dope. Then moving on to the next decade, well, the current decade right now is the 2020s, which I really have been enjoying what's been coming out because, like I said, like the 2010s felt like a lot of like big major studios making like these horror movies and stuff like that, you started seeing like A24 coming up, and it seems like we're kind of going back to like how the 80s were, where we're just getting a lot of low budget. We're not like trying to throw the whole kitchen sink at it. We're getting a lot of like smaller budgeted, smaller studios, indie studios making movies. Because like 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to see a lot of these movies in theaters and stuff like that. You wouldn't be able to see a Terrifier 2 in theaters and stuff like or even like a when evil lurks or something like that. But like I feel like the 2000 was it 2022, that was a fantastic year. It's just that, and I feel like that set such a high bar for just like horror in general and stuff, because we were getting like, we got X and Pearl and stuff like that. We had Nope, Barbarian came out that year
I
and
hate
stuff
that
like
movie.
that.
I hated Barbarian.
What?
Yep.
Okay,
With
let's
a
talk
I, I,
about,
passion.
let's talk about that.
I didn't like Barbarian either.
I
didn't
hated
like it.
Barbarian with a all I see
I
is
like
that hairy,
Barbarian.
all I see is that hairy nipple in my face, man. And it just makes me want to throw up every time I think about it. Fuck that movie.
But that's why I say I like that, like we're getting like these new original ideas still, even though like some people might not like it, like a Long Legs or something like that, or even like a Cuckoo, or what I'm saying, it's still something different. Or I
Right.
know you didn't like In a Violent Nature. I know Flicks probably didn't like the In a
I didn't
Violent
like that
Nature.
either. No.
You know what I'm saying? But it was still trying to do something different, where instead of just kind of just
I
retreading
don't
the
even
same
think it
thing
tried
over.
to. I don't even think it tried to do something different. It just stole off of Friday the 13th.
Exactly.
I mean, it was still, like for me personally, I can understand like people being bored from it. You know what I'm saying? You're watching, like, it probably should have been just like a short film or something like that. It would probably work better for a lot of people. But like just
Yeah.
the idea of like, all right, let's just follow the killer and stuff like this, and like
Well,
it's interesting.
Dog, just imagine, like, I saw this at the theater, bro, and the room that I was in was so big, and it was like about maybe 20 people in there, and it's like you had this big ass room, this big ass screen, and all you hear is footsteps walking through a dandelion field, and
But
I'm
you
just
can't,
sitting there like, what am I doing here? Like, what is this?
even though if y'all didn't like it, you cannot deny that yoga scene wasn't dope though.
That's it.
But
What? Okay,
see,
one kill. You keep going back to that one kill. That's it.
That
That's
shit
No,
was
it.
dope though. That shit was dope. I did not expect that.
it
Everything else,
was, but
and even the opening was dope, where he used old boy's body to like break into the police
Uh,
what the fuck he was, like, that museum or some shit. That shit was funny as hell.
Man, nah, perfect. No matter how you cut it, man. Look, just because you put syrup on shit, don't make it pancakes, man. That movie was trash.
Y'all wouldn't want to see like like a Art versus Johnny, like, and just kind of like Art making fun of Johnny moving all slow or something. Like, I feel like they could do some crazy shit with that. Like
I
I
can't
mean, it
believe
would
they're
only
making a
be
part 2.
interesting because the art is there, right? But
No, I mean, you think of In a Violent Nature, then like it's great value, Jason. It's all like the GoBots and the Transformers, man. It's so inferior. It's ridiculous. Like, throw that movie in the trash, bro. Never talk about it again.
That's one of
like
those
another
movies
one.
where I was going to say real quick, the idea is good on paper, but the execution was not there.
Yeah,
for
I
audience,
that's
for
the
the viewer.
I totally
it's
agree.
kind of like the same thing with, like, I don't know if everybody's seen Skinamarink and stuff. Like, when I saw the trailer, that shit fucked me up. I was like, yo, that looked crazy. But then it's just like, what are we watching? It's just like, and
I
some
could only
people,
watch 20 minutes of that movie.
but people, then like there's some people that really like that movie. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, you know what I'm saying? But like, I think it's good to kind of just get all these different kind of ideas out there, because like you never know what's gonna pop off or really like connect with people. You know what I'm saying? And we're like halfway through this decade, so like going into the 2030s, like what's gonna be like the next big
Well,
thing,
you know
or
what?
just
You know what? I just want to say this, like, as much as I'm a fan of the 80s, that's the era I grew up in. But the one thing I will give modern horror, like right now, like you said, Perp, is all the original ideas. And the 80s was original too, but the thing about it is, in the 80s, it was more of how gross can we get? How nasty can we get? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, each movie that came out tried to outgross each other, as opposed to actually telling a good story and making a good movie. Like, a lot of those movies were very, what they call it, schlock or whatever, or like kind of, just real sleazy, right? But
Yeah.
now there's so much variety in horror, where you have the slashers like Terrifier. Then you have the psychological horror. So that there's more variety now in horror than there ever was before. So I will give it that. But the 80s was just so much damn fun though.
Um,
But you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
I don't even know if I would say there's more variety because when I was a kid, when I was watching a lot of horror films with my cousins, every weekend we would have horror films to watch, and they were different from each other. And there were so many of them. There were so many that we were getting upset that we couldn't just finish them all in a 24-hour period. But I do think that there are some good films in modern horror. But if you were to ask me, do I prefer old school versus new? I'm always going to say old school, at least most of the time. I
Yeah.
just found them to be way more intriguing. There was way more creativity. They took a lot of risks, the way that they used the practical effects and all these things. Like there's countless reasons as to why a lot of the older ones work better than the new ones and why a lot of times the new ones take from the older ones, including trying to do prequels, sequels, reboots, and remakes, or taking a
Right.
portion of it, but then reshaping it to seem like something new. And then for those of us that have consumed a lot of older stuff, we're like, no, that's the same thing as these 10 films, but it'll feel new if you don't know about those.
Oh
Mhm.
no, well now, well, don't get it twisted. I didn't say it was better now. I'm just trying to
Oh
give.
no, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
you should, but
I'm just trying to
saying,
give props where props is due because I know because I
right,
seem like I'm an old head that just like you'll never top the old stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm always gonna be an '80s baby, so I'm
Yeah.
biased. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying back then it was more of the gross out factor, like how nasty, how gross can we make these movies? You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Mhm.
they always try to
And,
raise the bar as far as how nasty you can make it, whereas
and
now,
and I think Terrifier kind of opens the door, like kind of like made it cool to get like, yo, you can be disturbing, you can go over the top again. You know what I'm saying?
right?
Because like, there's a
right.
movie called The Well that I want to see, but I can't see it because Apple TV Plus is on some whole shit right now. That's a whole nother. I don't even want to talk about that movie
Well, see,
because
but that's
I
the
keep
thing,
hearing
though.
people talk about it and just how crazy the gore is in that, and that's just like I really want to watch it. Another one I want to see is Stream. I want to see that too, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
want
know
to
when
see that
that's
Oh, I
one
coming
want
to.
to see
too.
that. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
see, it's like you said with Terrifier. It's like you can do a lot in movies nowadays. It's just that a lot of directors and writers, they don't have spines anymore. They get scared, right? Because they care about what the internet thinks.
Bones
Individuals that aren't
chickens.
even going to watch this anyway. So they try to cater everything and make it PC. I'm like, look, if you're gonna give me a horror film, you do that. If you're gonna give me a comedy, then do that. I don't want to hear none of this bitch made shit about, oh, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. You better make you a damn movie.
No,
That's what
but
you need.
Terrence, it's not just that, bro. It's the MPAA also because you got to think Terrifier is independent. You know what I'm saying? A studio would never pick up Terrifier. So like like back in the day, most of those horror movies that
They,
we've seen and love come from independent filmmakers,
they,
and it's not like they don't want to
But
make those, but
Terrifier,
it's like you
Terrifier
get
is
it past the
extreme though,
MPAA is a
right?
bitch.
Right, but no, but see, but Terrifier is extreme because of how much violence, but there is
Yeah.
plenty of stuff that they can do that they choose not to do, which is different versus what you can't. So they leave
they
a
they
lot on the table.
they wanted to pick up Terrifier 3, but because the whatever the opening scene is just like, nah, I can't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that he
Right.
didn't. I'm glad he didn't. You know, sign like
Make
a
that.
major or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like then you get the studios involved, and it would have fucked
They
everything
would have
up.
changed the whole.
But,
Yeah, they would have changed the whole movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But how would y'all feel about Damien? Like, how would y'all feel like Damien like directing a Friday the 13th remake or something like that?
Oh, I would
I think
love
it'd be
that.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I would
it
love
it
that.
it, it depends on, okay, so like how you said the studios, they're only going to allow so much. Yes, but remember,
Mhm.
there's also a lot that they just choose not to do, and that's the facts. So, like, if you get someone as talented as him to direct something, as long as they don't tie his hands too much, I feel like he can do something nice with it. You know what I mean? Like you always need to remove the fear factor. Oh, what if this? What if that? Like, forget all that noise. What can we do that's okay? You give me a list and we gonna work off of that because it's much more than a lot of humans think, but they've been conditioned to think that you can't do stuff nowadays that you can do.
Right, like when I like in like Game of Thrones, I'm pretty sure everybody here watched Game of Thrones. Like when they the Red Wedding and stuff, when they stabbed the pregnant chick, I was like, oh, that's pretty extreme. Like I didn't expect that.
Right.
Like so we're definitely at a time where it's just like you could definitely push those boundaries and stuff like that. Obviously, you don't need to go like a Serbian film. Like nobody needs to make those type of films. Like what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but
But
you
then,
can still have.
the MPAA, like I said, they can be a bitch too because they're so wishy washy. Because like some things they'll let go, and then some things you're like, well, why did they make them cut that? Like look at the last if you look at the last few Friday the 13th movies that came out in the 80s, after Final Chapter, no, actually after Jason Lives, those movies were really watered down. I think I mentioned that last week. New Beginning and Jason Takes Manhattan. The kills are like they cut away before you can even see what Jason's even doing.
I hate that.
Right, but
I hate
it's
cutaways.
like, go ahead.
No, I say I hate when they cut away. Like I was like, yo, like why is this rated R? That's the one thing that pissed me off about the Candyman shit. I was like, bro, like you have these cool kills,
Right.
but like, do you want to like cut away or just like have one kill that's like far fuck away and shit? And that was just terrible.
Well, because
It
they
goes.
say, hey, if you do that, we're going to give it an X rating. So they have to like pretty much recut the whole film just to get that
Right.
R rating.
I mean,
It's
it
crazy.
goes back to what Vince Vaughn said recently when they asked him, how come you're not doing any of the comedy movies that you used to do in the early 2000s and the 90s? And he said, it's very simple. They're afraid to make it. Not that they can't, they're afraid to. But you can't be like that if you're going to be a writer or a filmmaker, because there are so many individuals that are craving those things because they don't get it. So all you need to do is be on point, and you're going to make you some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, yeah, they just got that's like the nature of filmmaking. You got to just be able to take risks and stuff. And if it flops, it flops. If it's successful, it's successful. You know what I'm saying? It's just the
Right.
point of you just trying to do something. It's
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
going back to Terrifier 2, and what Terrence said earlier about building this hype around a movie. Remember all the reports of people throwing up in the theater and shit like
Yeah.
that? All that shit helped. So if we keep
Yeah.
adding moments to horror, we're keeping horror rated R. Fuck all this Blumhouse PG-13
Thank
shit.
you.
We got
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like
Yeah.
we got to create these hype moments that kind of teeter on the border of too much and just enough for the horror fans, right? Because either way, you're gonna get people talking. You want
Yeah.
people talking, and you want to build that hype once again. I understand you don't want to get in bed with big Hollywood because once again they're gonna tweak things because they think they know what's good for the horror audience or any audience in general, and,
Right.
and jump into this next decade of horror. I see it with the continued trend of remaking shit from the 80s, 90s, probably even 2000s by the time we get to 2030, because that's how lazy fucking Hollywood is. The only
Right.
difference I've seen in 2020 thus far is them taking a chance because of low budget doing so well. So they're like, okay, this low budget project did well with $5 million. It made $100 million. All right, we're gonna
I
take
see
a
it.
chance on these
It's like a
scripts.
double-edged sword. Double-edged sword, because like to your point, like Blumhouse still makes something for like $5 million and make fucking 50
Oh
million
yeah,
off of it, and shit. It'd be
Or
trash as
make
hell. Like
100 million. Yeah. And they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Because
Tarot making as much money as it did surprised the fuck out of me. Like I was just like,
bro. I just read that real quick. I just read that. Did you see the trailer for that Mickey's Mousetrap? I don't know if you know.
nah,
You
I
guys
didn't
know
see
what that
it.
is.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, that bitch made $5 million. Who the fuck saw that?
Yeah, that's
something
Did we
crazy.
like,
even
I still
did
want
we
to
even
see
know
it.
that was out?
Nah,
Like
I didn't even know it was out. Yeah.
5
I
million
thought
worldwide.
that's crazy. But
You
that
could
goes
look
to
that
show
shit
you,
up.
like, but that goes to show you also, like, it's like that just goes to show you, like, anybody can really, not everybody, but anybody can really, like, just if you have an idea, you know what I'm saying, you can go chase that idea, chase that dream and stuff. You know what I'm saying, like, even going back to what I was talking about, was in the first episode of this season, talk about like milk and cereal. There was some guys on YouTube that just made like an hour-long movie,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
I
just
just
and
saw
it
that
just
today.
popped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like I think that's going to be another trend of like a lot of like content creators turn directors and stuff like that. Like, Chris Duckman got his movie coming out. I'm pretty sure people are gonna just like they're gonna trash this movie regardless. But like,
Oh yeah,
but
well, yeah,
and
the fan films are fucking fire. Like some of the Friday the 13th films are better than the actual films itself. And Perp, you sent me the link to Dylan's New Nightmare. I just watched that
yeah,
before the stream tonight.
yeah,
I loved it. That shit was fire.
yeah. Dave
For
Dave
sure.
Mc- Dave Dave, Dave McCray did a great job as Freddy. Like he was dope. Like
Yeah.
To your point, I've seen fan films of DC and Marvel characters, and I'm like, this shit is better than that $200 million film because it's accurate to the damn characters, and they have practically no money. That's why it blows my mind when you have Hollywood where they have all these resources, but they're trash. You know what I mean? And you could see that the fans have way more passion and just really unchecked talent. It's like, how about you recruit some of them instead of this dude that because he knows your cousin and BS like that.
nepotism.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said, Perp, about Damian Leone doing the Friday the 13th, you want people just in general that know the source material. I mean,
Yeah.
going as far back as who was it that did Platoon? Was it Brian De Palma?
No, that was
I'm sorry.
Oh shit, what is his name? Not Brian De Palma, but on the tip,
blank on
Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
And he actually went to Vietnam, right? I think that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
That he actually saw war.
He was
so
actually
the
there,
reason
yep.
why, the authenticity to the subject nature, you got to kind of know, what you're making, the research behind everything. And going back to what Turner said, you got to know people that know the lore of these comics or whatever, the correct backstories. Sometimes they just hire a director who knows nothing about the project. That's why Borderlands fucking failed, because Eli Roth knew nothing about the fucking video games. He even said that. He said that in the interview. So it's like, and I went to go see that bullshit because I like Eli Roth. It was a terrible movie.
So he should have just made it into a horror movie. Like
I heard.
But see that, they don't.
Yeah.
But they don't care though. That happens a lot. It's like, they'll tell individuals, hey, don't read this, don't play this. It's like, what is wrong with you? How you know what you're making if you're just kind of swinging in the dark? It's like, sure, you can get lucky, but a lot of that has to stem from something that's already established. If it's new and you do that, you're likely gonna fail because it's new.
Like with Blade, it's just like, why don't you get somebody that understands horror? That's your first thing. You should just get someone that understands horror, understands vampires, understands not only vampires but also understands Blade, and
Right.
it shouldn't be that hard.
It's insane, because I was telling humans like years ago when they announced it, like 6 years ago at this point, they trashed for that. But like I told them, I was like, okay, they're talking about they want to make it different from the Wesley Snipes films, and I'm like, that's easy for someone like myself that's read his comics. I'm like, you can just, if you want to do more of the horror element, why don't you just set them in London? You know what I mean? Like that had a lot of creepy, dark stuff. You can really utilize cinematography and like show him when he was a kid. He was like eating people and shit, like trying to figure out why he was like that. That could be horrific until he ran into Jamal Afari, who taught him martial arts, and he saw that he was good with the blade. That's why he named him Blade. It's like, you can do all these things. And I'm like, but if you don't have individuals that know this, it makes no sense to me. So I'm like, yes, you can make you can make Blade a true horror film if you want it, even though, like I said, it's not really needed because he's more of an action character, but he's rooted in horror in the sense that he fights vampires and even werewolves. You can throw that in there to be different.
Want to address this super chat. Shout out to Q Reviews. What up, dope horror peeps. We were just talking about you, Q. I'm gonna have to get you on here one of these days. Maybe because I'm definitely doing a Terrifier 3 discussion. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure everybody gonna.
Q's in a fan made Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, Roseblood.
Right there. That's right there.
Yeah. Yep.
You
go
will
check that out. Go
remember me.
Yeah, go check that out. Yeah, because like Q's dope, man. Q's dope. I definitely gotta get him on here and stuff like that. And I know Flex, you got your own horror podcast and stuff with Q and whatnot. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we just we've been kind of off it just because of schedules and stuff like that. But anytime a horror movie pops up or we find something crazy on Tubi, because Tubi has some gems. My God, I don't know who they're buying the movies from, but I find 80s, 90s horror on Tubi that I've never even heard of, and they got some great free shit on there. So we just kind of dive deep into horror, just like same format here. We just go split screen and talk about whatever we want about the movie, and yeah, we have a good time. I think it's good spreading the horror movie, especially like the older movies and stuff like that, spreading the knowledge, because a lot of these youngsters nowadays only know what's in they only know what's in the present. So they'll see, you know, a Blumhouse, The Invisible Man, and they'll think that's it. That's the Invisible Man. Right. You know what I mean? And they don't know anything about, you know, going back in time. And I'm still learning myself. So, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, horror has such a rich history. Like, it's over 100 years now. It's just like there's so much to dive into that. Like, yeah, like you said, I'm learning still too. Like, you know, different like ideas and just where certain tropes come from. But I've always said like the best way for like newer people to kind of get into horror is even just watch a lot of documentaries and stuff. That I feel like that like I've been like Shudder's got a new series right now called Horror's Greatest and stuff, talking about different tropes. The previous episode that they just came out with was talking about kaijus and stuff like that. The next episode they're talking about Japanese horror and stuff like that. So like getting that gives you a good like starting point, I guess. Like, even though a lot of those documentaries kind of spoil stuff, but go ahead.
What about Eli Roth's History of Horror? That was on for years, and that just, to me, when you talk about a docu-series covering, you know, every single facet of horror, to me, that's the GOAT right there. Like, I just the way that they broke everything down.
My favorite documentary that I saw recently is the what's his name? The dude that directed the Exorcist, and him talking about that on Shudder.
Friedkin?
Yeah, well, freaking, yeah. That is the most inspirational fucking documentary you'll probably ever watch. Like, that shit was crazy. I was just like, the insight that he gave about that movie is dope. I even like the documentary. Was it Room 237? It's based off The Shining and stuff like that. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that was good.
I need to watch some more documentaries. I used to watch a lot of them, but yeah.
You ever see Never Sleep Again? Where they covered all the Elm Street movies. That was really good.
That shit long as hell, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. Long.
But it's dope though. It's really dope to just kind of get that behind the scenes stuff. Like, that's what makes horror so dope, when you find out like, oh, this is how they did this, or how
yeah, go ahead. They have a Friday the 13th one. I forget what it's called, but that one's long as hell too.
The new Wolfman looks mad soft. Yeah.
But you haven't even seen anything yet, though. You haven't seen anything yet.
I mean, that's a problem. It's just like that's what I was talking about. It's like that first impression is not good.
Yeah. They got to stop releasing teaser trailers, man. Just come out with the official trailer one and let it rock. You know,
yeah, no more TV. Get rid of the TV spots. Like, no more TV spots. None of that. Like, because that shit is just OD.
You don't need TV spots, but like, I feel if you have someone that knows what they're doing, a teaser trailer is very effective. You know, like how I was just talking about the Blade movie. Like, if I were, you know, someone that, okay, like, I wrote the movie, I directed it, my teaser would be showing a younger Blade as a child and just have him destroying individuals. Like, that's how I want it to start. So that way they can be left with a certain impression. Like, wait a minute, I was the good guy and this and yada, yada. And who was that guy that was talking to him? You know, give them something to talk about. And then when they get the full trailer, then now they have the context of like, oh, okay, that's the guy that helped them and trained them. And then you get all this kind of story, but just enough to feed you. So I feel like there is room for an effective type of teaser. But a lot of times they release these teasers and there's nothing to eat off of. You're like, what? What? You know, it's just, it doesn't do anything.
I personally think that the reason why they put out these teasers, maybe I know we're not even into October yet. The movie comes out in January. The internet needs something to bite off of, right? They got to feed the internet. And I think that's basically what these studios are looking at is, hey, we got to put out something, you know, get these trailer guys like editing whatever piece of film that we need. Even if the film is still in production, sometimes they'll piece together some shit just to please the audiences. And like you said, that's not necessarily the greatest thing sometimes. And Yeah, I just hope this Wolfman does not look like a Jack Nicholson in Wolf. If you guys remember
Ugh.
that.
Oh,
Yes,
I fuck with that movie. I bet you it's gonna be better
No,
than
that
this
movie's
new
good.
Wolf movie.
It's good. He just doesn't look.
just the wolf
You know.
design was.
It-
Oof.
It makes me want to revisit the 2010 Wolfman because like I haven't watched that in a long time. I just like
I think
something about it.
that's very underrated, man. For some reason,
How
that
do I
movie didn't
feel
get the
like
respect
that's
that
gonna be
it
better
deserved.
than this new one? Even though I didn't like that one, I just have a feeling it's gonna be better than this new one.
I'm
I
I'm
don't think it's
surprised
gonna
that
be
they
fun.
haven't. I'm surprised they haven't brought back ginger snaps and stuff like that. That whole thing. But like I said, I think we might start to see like a resurgence of like
Like
werewolves and
religious
stuff like
and
that.
occult.
No, I'm saying werewolf movies
Those
and stuff because
movies.
like the Beast
Oh.
Within and
I
werewolf.
never seen Ginger. Is Ginger Snaps a werewolf thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that then.
They have a couple like
Um,
I don't know how many movies. I think they have like 4 movies or something like that. 3 or 4
for
movies.
Yeah, like shit.
just in
Remake
case,
the Howling, man. You know, yeah, good. Take it
Yeah,
back to
Howling.
the old school. You know, werewolf joints.
just in case, like a certain human may be listening to this, I need you. Aside from doing 13 Ghosts, I need you to understand that the Wishmaster movies exist and that you need to bring him into modern time. Like straight up.
Yeah.
Wishmaster, very
There's so
Wishmaster,
underrated.
much.
that shit's
Yeah,
fire. Wishmaster.
There, right now, mind you, Andrew Divioff, who played the Jinn in the first 2 movies, like it's gonna be hard to find somebody that could do that crazy ass face and the voice and stuff. But from a storytelling perspective, you talk about, what Terrifier did and stuff. I'm like, man, the Jinn was wrecking people in the most creative ways before they even knew what creative was. Like it's just you could do a lot with that.
Would
Ooh,
that work? A
fantastic.
Phantasm? Would that work as a
I
remake?
was thinking
I'm
that, man. I don't know
I'm a
who
huge fan. I'm a
tall
huge fan
man.
of Phantasm. I love
I I,
Phantasm.
The
I like
tall who
Phantasm.
play the tall man though, man.
You
That's
you
gonna be a
gotta
hard cast.
you gotta be careful with this presentation because with modern audiences, they may find that lackluster. They might be like, "What? Like that doesn't seem right." So you gotta really the movie
You
needs to be good, of course, but that marketing better be fire for that
do,
because
do
Yeah,
you guys watch From?
no, I
I haven't
haven't.
seen
I
it.
just no.
You haven't seen? Oh man, you gotta get on that because season 3 coming out. That's like the best horror show right now. But like as far as who could play the tall man, I was like the guy that plays Victor on that. Like he could definitely play the tall
But
man.
bro, look, let
But
me tell
we
you, Phantasm scared the shit out of me as a kid, man. Yo,
Same here.
I got a quick story, man. I had an uncle who used to rent horror movies all the time for us, and his favorite horror movie was Phantasm, and I never seen it. I was like 8 at the time, and like the moment when that dude said, "Boy," that shit sent like chills down my spine, right? So now, okay, so the movie's about to wrap up, right? Tall Man's supposed to
Mhm.
be dead. You know, back then horror movies wrapped up where they had that soft music playing and like just gave you that illusion everything was gonna be okay. And then when the your boy closed the door, he saw the tall man, the reflection in the mirror. He turns around, boy, and they grab him, and we're I turned white, right? So now the movie's over with. It's time to go to bed. All right, you kids, time to go to bed. And the house is a long ass hallway to get to the bedroom. And my uncle, like, he disappeared without us even knowing it, right? So we like just totally just forgot about him. We're walking down the hallway. All of a sudden, he jumps out the bathroom, right? Boy! And you know in the cartoons where you jump up in the air, your feet are like running before you actually take off.
Yeah.
We did that shit, man. I was crying. I was like, I want to go. I don't want to be here no more.
Yeah, Q. Late
That
Night with
movie
the
fucked
Devil
me
was
up.
dope. Late Night with the Devil was dope. I like
Yeah.
the aesthetics. Like it really captured that that 70s talk show kind of thing. And like that's another thing that's like recurring this year is just like the aesthetics of a lot of these horror movies and stuff like that.
Right.
Like
The
even
religion, the religion stuff and demonistic shit is still reigning supreme, I think, in horror movies. Like
So
everybody,
tired of those movies. There's too many of them, and they
but
all
people
feel the
love them.
same.
yeah.
But people
Oh
love them though. I don't know
God!
why. I mean, how many times are we going to get Russell Crowe in a fucking Exorcist
Right,
movie every
the
every
I
year?
nun,
I skipped those. I
and
skipped those.
like they can miss me with those the nuns and the right and all. I'm like, "Man, stop making those. And like, yeah,
I
but they're
personally
making
like the
money.
nun. I like the nun. I feel like I like the nun's design more than the movies. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
like
Like
the
I still
design, but that movie just
Well, I thought the front room was gonna go there because the way the front room was playing, like that old lady was like super religious.
Hear
She was even speaking in tongues and stuff like that. So I thought it was gonna
That
go
shit
in a
was crazy.
direction. Yeah, I thought it was gonna go in a direction where she became like some kind of demon. There was gonna be some kind of like demon showdown, but no, it was nothing like that. I mean, I'm not to spoil it, but it was like it just ended kind of abruptly. Like, oh well, that's it.
Like
So all that led up to a nothing burger.
Like one of my friends, I changed her life because as soon as she came to me and said The Nun is the scariest religious based movie, I asked her if she's seen the original Exorcist, and she said no. And I was like, "We gonna watch it together." She wasn't able to sleep for a week. I'm like, "You can miss me with these new movies." I'm like, "I told you that this is what you need right here."
Hey, show the deliverers like Q said, man.
Yeah, it's just like older horror movies, especially like in the 70s and stuff. Like they just had different pacing and stuff too.
Yeah,
Like the pacing was different. It's a little bit more slow burn. You know what I'm saying? And get right into it. But to
I mean,
kind of
plus,
wrap. Go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. Just, I mean, plus you had so much, the composers were really invested in these movies with these big epic scores, especially with the whole Omen franchise. I basically binge watched that earlier this year and last year. And they just, I felt like everybody was on board. The cinematographers, the acting, the kills were great. The score, once again,
right.
like everything felt like it was hitting on all cylinders. The concept, the story, the script, everything. Nowadays you're just lacking in so many different departments when it comes to a solid horror movie. It's just like a hot flavor for the week, and then you forget about it.
Right.
On to the next one.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's not
right.
what you want.
And the
Well,
music.
I mean, it comes down to the climax too, man. I said this in my last video. I said what's missing now also is that climax that makes you remember that movie. Like I said, just like with Phantasm, the way that ended, that shit stuck with me. And now these movies just kind of just end, and you're like, okay, that was it.
But see like Flicks mentioned, the music is important too. Like with those old school horror movies from the 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever. You play one of those themes, I can tell you what it is. You play any of this new shit, I'm like, what movie is that from? Like there's stuff that doesn't hook you. You don't remember it a week later.
Terrifiers 2 soundtrack is fire. That shit slaps.
Bro, I knew you were gonna say that.
That shit slaps
cool,
though. That shit slaps.
I'm talking about most of the time though. We don't remember the damn music with these horror films.
Nah, fair.
I can say that. And that's a great. I'm so glad that Flix brought that up because that's gonna be like the next episode talking about the sounds of horror and stuff like that. But yeah, this was a dope episode, dope discussion. Just to kind of wrap things up. Anybody got any last words or things they want to
say? Flix is gonna say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to I think what Rashad said about that whole sense of just calm in the climax. I mean, when you saw Friday the 13th, the original, the very first one, even though it didn't have Jason in it, when that girl was laying in that canoe, and then you just saw a fucking baby Jason come up and grab her, how fucking terrified were most of us?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they don't make those endings anymore.
Even though, like I said, like when documentaries they be spoiling a lot of shit. Like Camp Sleepaway, like that shit still fucks me up. Like that shit's so weird. Just like the facial expression and shit, just like it
leaves that impression on you. At like for some reason I just thought about the first Candyman. That shit gave me chills when your boy was in the mirror. He was saying his girlfriend's name that he betrayed, and that bitch showed up behind him. When I first saw that, man, like I got like goosebumps. Like, oh shit, that bitch came back.
I'm the only one that just thinks like, I don't know. It's been that way since I was a kid. Like none of this shit ever scared me. I just found it to be very fascinating. Like, you know what I mean? Like just sitting on the edge with that intrigue and the smile on your face. Like, so my horror experience has been very different. Like I wasn't jumping or none of that kind of stuff, but I wanted to see more based upon the characters and stuff, But
and Terrence, let me tell you something, bro. I was a coward. I have no shame in admitting that. I was a scary little motherfucker, man. I was, but there's been movies where I couldn't sleep after watching them. Yeah.
Hey,
Deliverance. I'm not watching that.
But only because I was excited to watch the next one. So it's kind of different. But yeah.
That's how I am. That's how I am. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say with the jump scares, anything that's like a good sound design, because I got like a surround sound now. So like, I mean, we didn't have that when we were kids, but still, just anything that like popped out in front of me or with a loud sound or whatever, like a swelling loud impact, would always get me. And I'm still to this day. I'm like Terrence said, I'm the guy that's jumping around in the theater, fucking throwing my popcorn around because it's so damn loud or whatever. Like I like that. I like to get scared, but that's just what triggers me first. Like I could watch anything all day. You could show me someone getting dismembered on Terrifier all day. I don't get grossed out, but the loud sounds of like something of a whatever,
I'll tell you guys what. Wait, go ahead.
I was just about to say it's old people and creepy ass kids for me that gets me, bro. Like the scene in the Visit when they're in that crawl space shit. I'm like, no, bruh, no, I'm out. I'm calling my mom. I'm gone.
I'll tell you guys what. If there's ever a day where a horror movie scares me, then I will do the marketing myself. I will invest every penny and be like,
I'm gonna make that movie.
This horror movie scared Terrence. Think about who the fuck is that? I'm like, just trust me. You got to check it out. Like, this the one right here.
I showed my nephew when he was like 4 years old. I showed him the Night of the Living Dummy episode of Goosebumps. That shit like traumatized him. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I thought he could handle it. I was like, I'm not gonna show him Haunted Mask and shit. Like that shit's terrifying. But
yeah, well, I know one thing that triggers me is like body horror stuff. Like body horror for some reason gets under my skin. And like the first time I saw The Fly,
Cronenberg.
Yeah, when I first saw The Fly, I was like 8 years old. Man, that movie fucked me up.
I'm looking forward to
when he bit off his fingernail and stuff. The what?
I'm looking forward to the Substance that's coming out later this month and stuff. It's supposed to be like a body horror type of movie.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Demi Moore, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see the trailer for that. I did see the trailer for that. Yeah, that looks fire.
That was a really good trailer because it made it seem like, oh, this is like a commercial or something like that. So that was pretty dope. You know, I think that's what's missing is the trailer guy in a lot of these trailers. Is the trailer guy voice is missing in a lot of these.
Yeah. The next terrifying movie from Wes Craven, the master of horror, comes.
Hey. Oh, you could apply for that job, Rashad. You could apply for that.
Yeah, like you should have Keith David be the trailer guy voice for every fucking movie, bro. Like,
when did that phase out? Because I feel like I totally forget.
I want to say late 90s, probably like late 90s, early 2000s. You stopped seeing that.
Yeah.
He got
it just got cheesy for people. You think, or
no?
I think he just like, you know, they probably didn't want to pay him. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you making way too much money, bro. I
think he makes everything sound epic. Like that shit is crazy. Like it could be a bar of soap and he'll make that shit sound epic. Like,
here goes a bar of soap. Don't drop it.
I think the trailer guy actually died though. I think that's what happened to. Yeah, I think he. Can
we get a documentary, like a documentary Netflix series about this man? Like he's pretty legendary. Like
right. It's like no one knows what he looks like, but you play that voice, and it's like everybody knows what's up. You know.
Right.
His name was Don LaFontaine. The movie.
That's a name. That's a name.
Okay.
Don. He was the Don.
Right, but I think he died though. That's why they stopped using him.
Yeah, 2008.
2008. Okay, yeah, I figured it was.
They better find somebody else because I'm tired of these bland ass trailers with just a mediocre ass voice. I'm like, you better put some umph on that. You know, say something to get me excited.
But yeah, that's to pretty much wrap it up. Go around. Y'all can just plug whatever y'all got coming flicks, but.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Perp, once again. It was great meeting you guys too, by the way, Terrence and Rashad. Yeah, great conversation. You spoke about Milk and Cereal. I actually just watched that because of Q. Last chat that I was on, he was like, "You got to watch this shit." I know it's been out for a couple of weeks now or a month, and I've seen big reviewers talking about that, so I just decided to do a reaction for that one. It was a pretty good micro budget. I think it was $800.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Movie. And it's a found footage movie. It's pretty good, but it goes back to what we were talking about. If you have a concept and you got a little bit of time to put something together yourself, just do it and put it out on YouTube. If you have a big channel, put it on YouTube. If you don't know anybody, I mean, if you don't have a big channel, go find someone that does. See if somehow you can work out a deal. Put it out on their channel. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
exactly. But I got that. I just put out my reaction for Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, basically on my channel, I do reviews. I started doing movie reactions a couple years ago, so I've been going back into a lot of these movies that I pick up just at the thrift store or whatever, Amazon, and I watch old movies basically and react to them as someone that didn't get to experience them when they did come out in the 70s, 80s, and so on. As far as like I just watched like The Bad News Bears 1976 yesterday.
Oh, nice.
That
Nice.
one was fun. That one's fun. So I watch all kinds of different movies, but horror is a passion. It actually was going to be my main thing, like only horror, but I decided to just talk everything because everyone just started asking me about my reviews on other shit. So I just started kind of dipping into that. So yeah, if you guys are into stuff like that, just check out my channel, Flicks Talk.
Rashad.
Rashad G reviews. I talk movies and whatever comes to this crazy brain of mine. I try to get into the movie reaction thing, but those videos are a bitch to make, man. I mean, for me, they're a bitch to make, like, because you have to, do the whole reaction thing. They have to edit and make sure you don't, go and fall into the copyright, hell or whatever. So I have a few of them on the channel, but mostly I just review movies and stuff. And I've been doing a new versus series on my channel too, where I take, I'll do like Rocky 3 versus Rocky 4. And the next one I got coming up is the 5 Heartbeats versus the Temptations, the movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Your Beetlejuice shit had me dying though. Like the beginning of that shit had me dying. Like,
bro, that movie made me mad, man. Yeah. I dropped a review for Beetlejuice. I wasn't a fan. I haven't seen anybody else's review on it, so after I get off here, I'm gonna go see what everybody else had to say about it. I didn't like it. I walked out with as I'm walking out, I said, I want my money back. That shit was trash, man. So
I didn't like it. I didn't like that much either.
Yeah, that's basically it. And what I'm looking forward to doing, there's a documentary on Netflix about to drop about Vince McMahon. So I'm a big wrestling fan.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna do like a whole live stream about that. When that drops.
That's gonna pop. That's definitely gonna pop. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Terrence, what about you? What you got going?
Oh, yep. Hello, humans. Terrence here. Before I plug what I was gonna plug, I was just gonna ask you a question, Perk.
Go ahead.
Are you sure you don't want to do a 10-hour stream with the?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
This is not Google Hangouts no more. We don't. This is not Google Hangouts.
I mean, if 10 hours is too much, something more reasonable like 9 hours, I feel would be probably better.
Yeah, we got enough times, enough hours in the day. Nope.
So, you humans can find me on T Virus Terrence. I am about 5 subs away from reaching 25K. Apparently, that wasn't supposed to happen, but we're right there. And
Congrats, bro.
I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I talk about a lot of different stuff on my channel, and I always say everything under the sun. So topics, movie reviews, shows, stuff going on in the world, me sharing my experiences, just a lot of different stuff, a lot of spicy things too. Stuff where humans are like, wait, what the hell is this here? It's just, this is wild. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you can find on my channel. And just to let the humans know, this is my 10th channel. I've had 8 other ones that faced termination because humans couldn't handle Terrence. Apparently I was too much. But sometimes in life, I come back in multiple forms and I keep generating fan bases without social media, by the way. And I figured, since I keep coming back, I must be a T Virus. That's how I got my name, T Virus.
Kang the Conqueror over here.
I was about to say, you're like Doomsday, man. You can't kill you twice. Can't kill you twice the same way.
I appreciate being on this channel. I know a lot of individuals, they would have to get to know me. Flicks, I'm definitely different, but I feel like you give me enough time, I could possibly win you over. Perp and Rashad will tell you, they've talked to me enough times, and even though Perp be forgetting about me sometime, I'd be trapped in the phantom zone. But no, I definitely appreciate any time that someone is kind enough to let me on their channel and everything. So thank you guys.
No problem. Yeah, man. So you already know it's perp. I'm gonna just drop. I just drop shit whenever I like feel like dropping shit, and I'm do movie reviews, TV stuff. I'm just doing the podcast shit. The next episode will be the same time. Gonna do another perp show towards the end of the month. I was gonna do it on the 18th, but they're gonna that Transformers early preview thing, so I'm going to that instead.
I just saw Q Reviews review on that, man. Q sold me on it, man. Yeah, I can't wait to go see Transformers.
Yeah, I hear nothing but good things because like them trailers did not sell me at all. But just
wait, Transformers, the animated one, that one?
Yeah,
Transformers 1.
Transformers 1. Yeah, I wasn't gonna see it till I saw Q's review on it, and Q sold me on it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Anything's better than Beetlejuice. So this weekend.
Damn, I haven't even seen it yet. Like I gotta see what's going on. Now
Terrence, were you a fan of the first movie?
I was not. Like I like things in it, and I think it's good, and it's like I can watch it, but like I wasn't as big of a fan as everyone else. But I do appreciate the movie. That's the best I can say. So
okay.
How does that?
I second that.
Then I think you definitely will not like the second one.
I don't know. Hey, Terrence might have a hot take and be like, the second one was like really dope. I don't know.
okay. Wait, hold on, Rashad. With that said, now based on what I said, in all fairness, I do think the first one is a legitimately good movie, and I do appreciate things in it. So, with all that said, do you feel, with that said, that I'll think the second movie is better than the first, or do you feel that I would hate it based upon what I said about the first movie?
I don't know. I just don't see any situation where anybody would like that movie because it had none of. Well, it had none of the charm of the first movie. It had like even Michael Keaton himself. You could tell he's getting old because as Beetlejuice, he had like no energy. You could tell
hairline all the way back.
He was coasting through. He was just coasting like, look, let me get this paycheck and and that's it.
Wait a minute. Like one spoiler, Rashad, and this. If you tell me the wrong thing, I'm not gonna go and see it. Does anything bad happen to Jenna Ortega? Because if it does, I can't go and see it. That's just
nah. She's safe. She's safe.
All right, cool.
Her character was wasted, but she's safe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was never really, like I rewatched Beetlejuice. I was like, yeah, I'm not like the biggest fan. I was like, Tim's a weird guy. That's all I'm saying. Like with that movie, I remember I was like the whole trying to marry a 16. Yeah, Tim's a weird guy. Yeah, that's all I can say about it. He's a weird guy.
Tim seemed kind of cool. I'm just only saying, Rashad, just in case you're wondering about Jenna Ortega. This is why I think Ghostface is evil, because he was trying to, take out Jenna, and you got to be evil as hell to do something like that. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, and because I was talking to Q about this earlier too. I compared Beetlejuice to Ghostbusters Empire, the Frozen
Somebody
Empire.
said I've heard that a lot too. A lot of people, say compare those two.
But I enjoyed the Empire that was frozen. Like
Well, you know what? Knowing you, Terrence, I think you'll have a hot take. You'll probably be one of the few people, the minority, that actually like Beetlejuice. Then,
well, but remember, I am objective. So just because I like something, don't mean it's good. Like I just wanted to throw that out
there. Okay.
Well, with that being said, I'm gonna head off. I appreciate everybody that popped in live. Shout outs to Q with the super chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get you on here. I'm gonna just hit you up in the DMs and whatnot, figure that out. And, like I said, next week, same time, y'all are all welcome to come back. If you're checking this out on the replay, make sure you hit that like button. If you're the first time you're hearing me and seeing everybody, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you subscribe to everybody. Till next time. See y'all on the next one.